I just created 5 completely different product announcements in 2 minutes. Watch them appear. Version 1 is direct and data-focused. Version 2 uses storytelling. Version 3 is conversational. Version 4 is urgent and action-directed. Version 5 is aspirational. 2 minutes, 5 completely different approaches. Now I have a problem. Which one is actually good? Which one will work for my audience? Which approach achieves my goal? The AI has no idea. It just generated patterns it learned from millions of examples. It can't tell you that version 3 will resonate better with your specific audience, or that version 5 accidentally sounds condescending, or that version 2's story doesn't actually support your main point. Here's the thing that catches many people off guard. Having 5 options in 2 minutes doesn't automatically help. Many people will generate those 5 versions and then feel overwhelmed by their choice. They got speed without direction, and that's worse than just being slow. This is the module where the planning work discussed in Module 2 starts paying off, because your strategic thinking will help you to know what you're looking for. Here's a quick reminder of where we are. Module 2 covered the front end, the strategic planning phase of an AI integrated project. You figured out what you're trying to accomplish, who you're talking to, and how to communicate clearly with AI tools. This module addresses the middle phase, where AI actually generates stuff. It will generate for you different kinds of content, then variations of that content, adaptations of that content. And this is where AI tools will do most of the work. Module 4 will address the back end of a project, where you verify everything and make sure it's actually good. But right now, we're in the generation zone. And here's what's different about this phase. AI is doing the heavy lifting, but you aren't exactly passive. You can think about it like driving with cruise control. The car maintains the speed, but you're still steering. You're still watching the road. You're still making every important decision. The people who struggle in this phase are the ones who either try to control everything through constant interruption and micromanagement of the AI, or the ones who completely let go and just accept whatever the AI generates. Professionals do neither. They generate, evaluate, refine, and iterate. It's a rhythm, and a rhythm that we are going to learn. Let's talk about the 4 main strategies you'll use in this phase. Strategy 1, initial draft generation. This is where your Module 2 prompt work pays off immediately. You've done the strategic thinking, you've refined your prompts, now you generate a first version. Don't expect it to be perfect. What you're looking for is about 70 to 80% of what you will ultimately need. That might sound worse than it actually is, because getting 70% of the work done in 5 minutes is a lot better than getting 0% done while you stare at a blank page for an hour. The initial draft will give you something to react to, something to refine and build upon. That's way easier than creating from nothing. Strategy 2. Research integration. AI tools are fantastic at gathering and organizing information quickly. There's just one little problem. AI makes stuff up. Confidently. Constantly. We call these departures from reality hallucinations. And they're a huge problem if you don't verify the information contained within AI outputs. So the workflow is, you use AI to find and organize research, and then you verify everything that matters. You check the facts, you evaluate the sources, you decide what's credible. Think about the AI as being like your research assistant, not your fact checker. Never trust AI research without verification. Strategy 3. Variation generation. This is where AI really shines. Do you need the same message conveyed in 5 different tones? You can get that done in 30 seconds. Do you need the same basic message expressed in 3 different formats or mediums of expression? There's another 30 seconds. Do you want to have multiple length options? Again, 30 seconds. But this is important. The AI can't tell you which variation is best for the problem that you're trying to solve. That requires understanding your audience and your goals, and that's your job. So, you generate variations to explore options, and you evaluate these variations based on your strategic criteria. The AI might give you choices, but you make the decision. Strategy 4. Format adaptation. So, you've created something good. Let's say a blog post. Now, you need to distribute it in a few different ways. You might need the same basic content expressed through social media content, an email, presentation slides, and a one-pager. Traditionally, adapting the content in this way might take hours of manual work. With AI, however, it can take minutes of guided transformation. Just be careful. Each format has different requirements. The AI may handle the mechanical transformation, but it's up to you to ensure that each version actually works for its specific purpose and audience. You're not just reformatting, you're adapting strategically. Here's where things can get interesting. Professional AI work rarely uses just one tool. Instead, you will frequently combine tools strategically. Let me show you a realistic workflow. Let's say you're creating an employee wellness campaign. Here's how you might orchestrate multiple tools to get this done. First, you might use something like ChatGPT to analyze employee survey data and identify themes. The LLM is extremely fast at combing through the numbers and finding patterns within them. It can help you to figure out quickly what people are actually concerned about. Then, you might turn to a tool like Claude, which is particularly effective at writing, to draft the main announcement email based on these themes that you identified. You can use Claude to generate variations for different departments, because what matters to IT might not be the same as what matters to operations. Then, you might use an image generation tool, something like Midjourney or NanoBanana, to create graphics that match the messaging. Then you might turn back to Claude or ChatGPT to adapt the email content into a poster, an internet article, or talking points for managers. At each step, it's up to you to evaluate. Does this material align with our goals? Is this the right tone? Does this actually address employee concerns? Notice what happened here. Each tool handled what it's good at. You orchestrated the handoffs. You acted like a project manager who maintains strategic direction throughout. That's the pattern that you should learn to recognize and apply. Now you might be thinking, this sounds complicated. How do I know which tools to use when? It's a fair question. And honestly, the answer is you learn by doing it. You experiment and see what works. Over time, you develop instincts. The tools themselves are changing and improving all the time, so it's impossible to give a definitive answer on what's the best tool for which situation. So just start simple. Master one or two tools, and add complexity when you actually need it. You don't need 5 tools for every project. Sometimes one is more than enough. Let the project requirements guide you, not the urge to use all the shiny new toys. Let's finish off by talking about iteration, because this is where most people either waste time or give up too early. Here's what ineffective iteration looks like. You generate something, and it's not perfect. And then you generate something new, and it's still not perfect. You generate once more from scratch, get frustrated, and give up. The problem here is that you're throwing away the good parts every time you start over. Here's what more effective iteration looks like. You generate an initial version, identify what works and what doesn't, you refine the specific parts that need work, evaluate them again, make targeted adjustments, and then apply final human polish. Here, you're building progressively. Each iteration improves on what's already working. Now, the hard question is, when do you stop iterating? In principle, of course, you could iterate forever. Every output could be tweaked. But at some point, you're wasting time on diminishing returns. Here's what I ask myself in order to figure out when to stop. Does the material that I have achieve my strategic goals? Am I going in circles? Changing something back to how it was 2 versions ago? That's a sign that you've hit the limit of what AI can do. Is the next improvement that I'm looking for something that the AI can actually make? Or is it something that needs my expertise? If it needs your judgment, stop using AI and apply your own skills. Here's the general rule. In any given project, AI is able to get you maybe 80 or 90% of the way there efficiently. The final 10 to 20% is where your expertise will create real value. Don't over-iterate with AI when what you actually need is human judgment. This module is about effective, efficient generation guided by strategy. By the end, you should feel comfortable generating content at speed while maintaining direction, combining tools without getting overwhelmed, and iterating productively without spinning in circles. By the end, you should know when AI helps versus when you need to take over.